You're listening to Weird Medicine with Dr. Steve on the Riotcast Network, riotcast.com.
I need some touching in the carotid.
I've got diphtheria crushing my esophagus. I've got Ebola virus dripping from my nose. I've got the leprosy of the heart valves, exacerbating my incredible woes. I want to take my brain out and blast it with the wave, an ultrasonic, echographic, and a pulsating shave. I want a magic pill for all my ailments, the health equivalent of Citizen Kane. And if I don't get it now in the tablet, I think I'm doomed and I'll have to go insane. I want a requiem for my disease, so I'm paging Dr. Steve. Dr. Steve!
It's Weird Medicine, the first and still only uncensored medical show in the history of broadcast radio, now a podcast. I'm Dr. Steve with my little pal, General Man Calves herself, Jenny McKinney.
Jenny McKinney, right here. 18-inch man calves.
This is a show for people who have never listened to a medical show on the radio or the internet. If you have a question you're embarrassed to take to your regular medical provider, if you can't find an answer anywhere else, give us a call at 347-766-4323. That's 347.
Poohead.
Very good, thank you. Follow us on Twitter at Weird Medicine. Are you on Twitter yet?
No.
Okay, no.
In a minute.
Oh, okay, okay, very good. Visit our website at drsteve.com for podcasts, medical news, and stuff you can buy, or go to our merchandise store at cafepress.com/weirdmedicine. Most importantly, we are not your medical providers. Take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Don't act on anything you hear on the show without talking it over with your doctor, nurse practitioner, physician assistant, pharmacist, chiropractor, acupuncturist, yoga master, physical therapist, clinical laboratory scientist, registered dietitian, or whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah, or whatever.
There's a lot of
exactly.
options out there.
Whatever. I had a friend that was mad at me. I didn't even realize it. Oh. And she thought when I said, or whatever, she was like, I was being dismissive, going, oh, or whatever. But I was really saying something like, you know, you could do this or whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
Or whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Whoever you need to see in life.
I was, anyway. Don't forget to check out stuff.drsteve.com. That's stuff.drsteve.com for all your Amazon needs. Do all your shopping there, and it really helps us out. Stuff.drsteve.com. You can scroll down, see just about every product we've ever mentioned on this show that we think is worth it crap, or you can just click through and go straight to Amazon. Stuff.drsteve.com.
Cool.
If you need earbuds, tweakedaudio.com, offer code FLUID. I need to get you some tweaked audio earbuds so you can talk about them.
I'd be tweaked.
Use offer code FLUID for 33% off your order, which is an incredible discount. I mean, You buy $60 worth of stuff, and then you put in that offer code, and it drops it to like $39.99, which looks like it's way less than $40, but which is weird. But
I'm all about coupons.
Yeah,
you say coupon or coupon?
Coupon. Coupon. That was what they said in Chicago. Coupons. No. Coupon. No, they said coupon. Coupons.
I said poop on your coupon.
Let's watch TV. Oh.
That's how I
watch
talk.
TV.
How do you say tour?
Tour.
I think I'm saying, everybody makes fun of me. I say tour.
Tour. Yeah.
Not like a oneer.
That's not that bad.
Okay.
When I was in Vermont, I would call and say, hey, do y'all have such and such? They go, no, we all don't have that. And it's like, oh, really? No, it's on now. Oh, it's on.
Yeah.
And that was just like South Park. Oh, it's on. Okay. No, I don't think it is on. No, it's on.
It's on.
Yeah, it wasn't ever on. I just took it. Coupon. That's it, coupon. And watch some TV. That's all I can really do from when I lived in Chicago.
Yeah.
Check out noom.drsteve.com, noom.drsteve.com, if you want to hit your ideal body weight. It's not a diet. It's an app. It's a psychology app. It teaches you how to change your relationship with food, but also helps you change a lot of other stuff in your life.
I need a change in my life.
Well, I'm telling you, it really helped me in other aspects of my life as well. And I've got a little bit of control over things than I once did.
Nice.
So noom.drsteve.com. You get 2 weeks free and 20% off if you decide to do it. It's just a 3-month program. It's less expensive than Weight Watchers, and there's no points. So check it out, noom.drsteve.com. You can just try it, see if you like it. If you don't like it, to hell with it.
Yeah.
The hell with you.
Hell with it.
Do you ever say hell with you? You hear people that? No, you never said that when you were in Michigan, right?
I
Hell
actually say
with
what the hell, like
Yeah.
HAIL.
Yeah.
Just to be funny, so it doesn't like offend people, but it's still like letting you know I'm
Right,
serious.
but when you're down here, hail is just saying
Hail.
hell.
Yeah.
'Cause
So
that's
now I
how
just
we
kinda
say
blend in.
hell.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know, it's weird.
hell with you
Yeah.
is one of my favorite Southern
Or
things.
hailfire. That
And then,
cracked me
well,
up.
hellfire.
Hellfire.
That's right. Now, so my best friend David Miller and I were in at Ozfest in Atlanta,
Okay.
and we got stuck in this place. And this is before GPS.
Okay.
So we were getting our map
yeah.
out, and we were right in front of this little convenience store that has been featured on the show Atlanta.
Okay.
And this weird little dude comes. He looked like Lee Harvey Oswald. That's the only thing I can say.
Okay.
And he's walking in. It looked like he was a regular at this convenience store. People are going in and out, buying beer and stuff.
Yeah.
And we had the map out, and we just figured out where we were and where we were going. So it was really just like, okay, cool. Well, now we know.
Yeah.
And he yells out to us, "Do y'all need directions?" And we were like, "No, we got it." And he just looks at us and goes, "Well, hell with you then," and walks into the store, right?
Like he's all mad at you.
Yeah, he
for
was
not
mad at
needing
us because we
service.
didn't need his help. And then we were saying, hey, we should go to that restaurant, something. We were still talking out, while we were pumping our gas. And he comes back out and he hears us talking about restaurants.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, do y'all need help finding a restaurant? We're like, no, I think we figured it out, but thanks. And he goes, well, hell with you then, and then just walks off again.
Maybe hell with everybody. That sounds like
I know,
it's
he was
just like...
we didn't want his help, so hell with
hell
us.
with ya.
Hell
Yeah.
with you. So now,
Hell
of
with
course, David and I, whenever we're talking on the phone, it's just, I'll say stuff like, he'll be talking about some cases like, do you need help? No, seriously, dude. I
Right.
mean, I could be an expert on that case. No, I got it. I'm like, well, hell with you.
Hell with you.
I just set him up.
Yeah. Well, I give people the option of like piss off, like, hey, do you want to do this, or piss off? Like, piss off is just kind of funny.
Yeah,
You know,
right,
like,
right.
It's an easy way to say no
Yeah,
without
yeah.
being offensive.
Right. I guess.
I kinda.
Except in the South, I'm not sure it is. Now, we used to have, you've heard the Jerky Boys, right?
Yeah. Oh my God.
There used to be this guy, and I can't remember his name.
Mm-hmm.
He was, and this other guy took his name. It was like Maynard Ferguson or something. It wasn't
Okay.
Maynard Ferguson. But,
Yeah.
And he would call people up and just say, well, I bought this engine from you and now it's tore up because we were racing or whatever, and it's just like, it was all ridiculous stuff. He was wanting them to, well, I guess you all don't stand up for what you sell, and it was like, it was obvious he had just trashed this thing, right? Now the
Right.
Jerky Boys would call and get Brent Weir on the phone now, God damn it, and people would go, okay, yeah, I'll get him,
Right.
Well, this guy would call somebody a son of a bitch, and he's like, well, I guess the son of a bitch don't stand up for what he sells, and he's like, well, I ain't no son of a bitch, and those were fighting words.
Oh, right.
So you call someone a son of a bitch in the South,
Oh, yeah.
and they're going to beat your ass.
Yeah.
And then those phone calls would all go to, well, I'll take a 2x4 to your damn ass. Well, you just come here and try it.
Yeah.
Well, then he's like, well, I don't know why you're getting so mad about it. And, and then that guy would come down and he would reel them out and then reel them back in again.
It's an
But then the
emotional
Jerky
roller
Boys
coaster.
would call, people just the worst things, and
my
they'd just go,
gosh.
yeah, okay, I'll get them. Like
Do
it
you
was
remember-
normal.
Yeah, do you remember the one that he called the hospital? The nine. I think it was. He must have called like almost like an urgent care back then.
I don't
But he
remember.
was talking about how he blew his fingers off from his, like he was holding the. He said
Firecrackers or something.
It was an M80 in his hand. He's like, it was kind of big, but then like it's kind of stingy because I'm missing some fingers.
Oh, jeez.
She was freaking out.
Well, yeah, and that's sort of normal. You get
Yeah.
those calls at urgent cares, but
Yeah.
it was interesting to me that you could, basically curse somebody out,
Right.
in New York and New Jersey, and
Yeah.
they would just took it in stride.
Sure.
But you call some poor guy selling auto parts
Oh,
a
yeah.
son of a bitch, and now he's going to
They're
beat your
gonna-
ass.
yeah,
So
They're gonna meet out in the farm.
I know. I'll be here all day.
Yeah.
Well, by God, I'll be there. It's
Right.
just hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't know. He needed a coupon.
Well, that's what
whatever
that.
he bought.
Yeah. But
For
hail
nature.
with you, shit on you.
Hail
That's
with
another good one from the South. Shit,
yeah.
well, shit on you. And I used to say that, which just evokes this image. And where that came from, where that becomes something that you say to somebody that
Yeah.
you're mad at.
Oh my God.
Because
can't even-
getting shit on you is a
Yeah,
bad thing.
That is. Yeah.
And my office receptionist at my old office, I'd say, "Well, Joanne, shit on you," and then she'd come back at me, "Well, shit and fall back in it." Which the only way you could shit and then fall back in it is if you're shitting in the woods,
Oh,
right?
I was gonna say that, or like a outhouse that's gone wrong.
Right,
You know,
right. But to fall back in it implies that you were standing,
Yeah.
and you shit,
And
and
then
then
you
you went whoa,
Yeah.
and then you fell,
Yeah.
and
That's
fell
some-
into the shit.
Yeah, she's putting some woo woo on you for,
Yeah, shit and fall
to
back
knock off
in
your
it.
balance.
So if you're in Appalachia and you want to make somebody laugh,
Yeah. Shit
tell them
on
to
you.
shit and fall back
Shit
in
and
it.
fall back in it. I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna take that up to Michigan.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, what the hell?
Well, that's good Thanksgiving dinner stuff with
yeah,
your family if
I'll
you want to be
save it.
really dysfunctional.
Yeah, I'll say
When your
that.
uncle says something stupid, well, shit and fall back in
Shit
it.
and fall back on it. And I'll say it with the twang too.
There you go.
Yeah, let them know I'm serious.
Simplyherbals.net is Dr. Scott's website for a little while longer. I think it's still up. So just buy him out of all of his crap and let the poor guy get out of the business. And then if you want archives of the show, go to premium.drsteve.com for $1.99. Get all of the access to all the shows. And we actually have an app. You can go to the App Store, or you can go to the Google Play Store and just look for the Weird Medicine app. And that's the easiest way to listen to premium content if
Cool.
you've got a because you just log in once and then you can have all the
Right.
shows.
Awesome.
I'll also send you a thumb drive for $30. You can go to our website at drsteve.com. That's got every show on it. You get a 32 gig thumb drive with 17 gigs of material on it. So, there's a
Cool.
little extra capacity on
Yeah.
there too. And I try to send those out the same day with some stupid merch and crap like that too.
Nice.
All right. Very good. So you've got a podcast coming up.
Yeah, I'm doing like audio recordings right now that I'm trying to release as a podcast. It's called So Much Genergy because
Okay. Whoops.
like you can see, I wake up at, wide open.
Yeah. We're
And,
doing this at 7:30 in the morning and you're quite wide awake.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Well, I get up
Unlike
at
me.
anywhere like 4:45, but
All right. Anyway.
but it's basically, just funny things that have happened from the
Where
week.
can people find this?
Well, right now it's an email release.
Oh, come on.
I
Okay.
know.
Do you see this studio?
I know.
You have access to this. I can help you with this.
I know. Well,
Go to
hellfire.
oh, well, that's right. Well, hellfire. Email.
Yeah.
Okay, so how would people get on your email list then?
Well, you have to get into it, but
How
yeah,
how
I
do
don't
they
know,
get
'cause
into
I
it?
only have a link to
You
send
don't
out
know.
to them.
Okay,
Oh,
so
God. So I'm trying.
You would have to send it out. So this is what you got to do.
Okay.
Go to libsyn.com,
Okay.
libsyn.com. It's
Okay.
Liberated Syndication.
Okay.
And they will look. There's free podcast hosting places.
Yeah.
But it's for $5 a month. You can do it with limited statistics.
Okay.
And when people start listening, then you want to bump up to the $20 a month thing.
Okay.
But at $5 a month, you can get it up there. You can get it on iTunes and Facebook and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
And
'cause-
how are you recording it?
so right now, what I'm doing,
I'm getting my finger ready for
I
the
know,
boo button.
I can feel it. I'm being very judged. No, I'm going.
You are. I'm judging you.
So right now, what I'm doing is I'm recording on Zoom. So I go to Zoom, log into my account, I record. I'm like having a meeting with myself.
Zoom is an online app.
Yes.
A
so
meeting
Zoom
app that you can
.com.
record on. I see
Yeah.
other people are doing this when they're, instead of taking phone calls, to have a guest on, they'll do it on Zoom.
Yeah. Well,
So how are you recording it into Zoom?
I'm recording it right in there. So I'm in I'm
How?
in my so it says
By what means? And talking to you, I can see
Yeah.
you, so talking to the mic.
So I go to zoom.com, I log in, and then it just tells me host a meeting, but I'm really hosting it by myself, and then I hit record.
Okay. Okay.
Hellfire.
Can you please stop bullshitting?
What means are you getting the audio into Zoom?
So, well, it just records it right there, and then it exports the
my
MP4.
God.
Is that what I'm supposed to answer?
No, how are you getting your voice into
I'm sorry.
Zoom?
I just record it on the computer through a microphone.
There you
headset.
go. Okay, so you're using a headset.
Yeah, headset with the microphone.
Okay, so the audio quality might be okay. There are some commercial-grade headsets.
Yeah. Well, I wear a headset for work anyway because I do online service.
Yeah, okay.
So,
A headset's okay. That was what I was asking.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I
So,
misunderstood.
and you plug that directly into your computer,
Right
so
in
you're
the
using the
computer and
computer's
record.
audio interface.
Yeah.
So that audio interface is going to suck. Is it a
Yeah.
PC or a Mac?
Mac.
Oh, it is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Well, it might not suck too bad then.
It's not too bad.
Yeah, okay.
I've had like 5 recordings so far.
Yeah.
And it's basically like me just talking to you.
Yeah.
And then, but
Right,
I
that's
can't
fine.
hear you.
I mean, Jim Florentine
Yeah.
used to do his podcast on his iPhone. He'd just
Yeah.
be driving from one gig to another. and do a
That's kind of what
podcast
it
that
sounds
way.
like. It's
Yeah,
just me
okay.
telling you funny stories
Okay.
that have happened from the week.
Okay.
And, just random crap that I think is hilarious, and I just keep
Yep.
laughing. And it's like 15 minutes, and
Good. 15
Yeah.
minutes about right for
Yeah.
something like that. If you want to up your audio game, I can help you.
okay.
You'll want an audio interface, or if you said that you have a Casio and you just hold it up to the.
Yeah, so when we were talking about like background noises,
Yeah.
and like I don't have any way, I don't know audio equipment to be able to merge things.
Yeah.
So I have my own, like, I found a Mr. Bean laugh track, so I put that right up to my microphone, and then my headset,
Okay.
and then so I have that ready on my phone, and then I bought a 1980 Casio organ
Yeah.
that I just
Those are great, by
I
the
just
way.
put like a beat on, and like when I have a funny, and I make my own commercials.
Yeah.
Like just with everyday items.
Okay.
So like,
So yeah, now the Casio, I like that. Have you seen Napoleon Dynamite?
Yeah.
They did the whole soundtrack on a
oh my
Casio, and
gosh.
it's brilliant.
It's so that's
So if you're
yeah.
wanting that sort of retro, kitschy, kind of crappy
Yeah.
thing,
I just want it to feel like you and I are just having a conversation,
right?
but I can't hear you.
Except you're doing sound effects with a Casio.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So we're over the next few weeks, we're going to figure out a way for you to get
Okay.
this on the internet,
Yeah.
and then we can promote it
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Now, be prepared. People love to, they're anonymous, so they just love to shit on.
Oh yeah. Shit on me and hope I step
That's
in
right.
it.
Shit on you and fall
I'll
back in.
fall
it.
back in it. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
Very good. Okay. So, I heard you did a show in Charlotte recently.
Yeah,
good.
just outside. It's called the Trail House. It's a restaurant.
Okay.
The venue was really good. It gets kind of risky because you're not sure if they have like stipulations, or you got to watch your content, or
Right.
But there was 8 of us, and
Well,
probably,
you're not known to work real blue, though.
Right. No, but if I yell MF when I'm talking about my dad, then because that's just him,
Well, that's always fun.
Yeah, but I just want to make sure. I even asked, was there any kids in there before we went on? But
Yeah.
It was a great show. The crowd was awesome. The food was phenomenal. There was 8 of us, and probably 6 of us were really hilarious.
Yeah,
which is
okay.
a pretty good high percentage.
You're including yourself in that.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Excellent. All right, well, good.
Yeah. What I wanted to add real quick is, like, I have distinctive laugh, right? So Mitch Hedberg did a set on distinctive laugh, which
Yeah.
is like, my laugh is like, when I'm laughing, it's really loud, and
Yeah.
I think people are laughing at my laugh.
Okay.
So I don't know if I'm really funny or they're just laughing at my laugh.
Right,
and
right,
so
right.
if I don't laugh, it's really obvious.
Right.
Because the room's kind of quiet. But that's what's rough, is like, if stuff's not funny and I'm not laughing, I feel like
Distinctive
really,
laughs
Yeah.
are funny, though, and sometimes they can, and not in your case, but they can be annoying. I had a friend in medical school who had a distinctive laugh, and everybody, that's what people, how they made fun of her.
Right.
They,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just
If
think
she's
it's-
listening, she knows who she is, because that was pretty perfect,
Right.
actually.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
Speaking of kids in the room, I took my kids both to Jim Florentine, where he talked about, and at that time I think they were 10 and 9, where he talked about fashioning a condom out of Saran wrap, so they got to learn about that. And then I took them to see Uncle Robert, Uncle Bobby Kelly, because that's what they call him, Uncle Robert, and. he talked about flying cunnilingus monkeys. So, and they were sitting with my mother-in-law, and my wife was so embarrassed she wouldn't even go up there, you know. So my mother-in-law looked like, here's this old lady bringing these kids to this show about flying cunnilingus monkeys.
Risky.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Yeah, that's funny.
She was beet red when she came downstairs, but we were just laughing. So anyway, a couple of things. I guess we need to talk about coronavirus. Now, we record this on Wednesday, and this is depending on when you. So just so you know, when you're listening to this, this may be outdated. We're recording this Wednesday, March 4th, 2020. But the NIH, National Institute of Health, is doing a clinical trial on an antiviral drug called remdesivir to treat COVID-19. Now, remember, the virus is SARS-CoV-2, but the disease that it causes is called COVID-19. That just means coronavirus disease 2019. So a randomized controlled clinical trial to evaluate the safety and efficacy, in other words, is this stuff okay to take? Will it harm you? And does it work? Of an investigational antiviral remdesivir in hospitalized adults diagnosed with coronavirus disease has begun at the University of Nebraska Medical Center in Omaha. Wonder why they picked there. I'm just curious, a lot of the cases are in Washington and stuff like that. Why not start there? But okay.
Right.
The trial regulatory sponsor is the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases and a part of the National Institutes of Health. It's the first clinical trial in the United States to evaluate an experimental treatment for COVID-19, the respiratory disease first detected in December of 2019 in Wuhan, Hubei province in China. The first trial participant is an American who repatriated after being quarantined on the Diamond Princess cruise ship. We actually have a doctor from the one town over that was on that cruise line, and I'm giving him a couple of weeks to get the virus totally out of his system, and we'll invite him in, and maybe we could talk to him about his experience.
Yeah.
This person volunteered to participate in the study. The study can be adapted to evaluate additional investigational treatments and to enroll participants at other sites in the U.S. and worldwide. The thing is, so that particular case is an N of 1. So he's got a 50-50 chance of getting the drug if it's randomized placebo control.
Right.
So, we're not going to get much information from this one case.
Yeah.
I mean, particularly since 90+% of people get better. So let's say that there's a 6% mortality rate with this virus. That means 94% of people don't die.
Sure.
So you would have to treat a lot of people to be able to show a positive effect, because you get 100 people, 96 of them, if you give them the medicine, we're going to get better anyway.
Yeah.
So now, so maybe this time you had 5. What if it's this stuff is 20% effective? Then, now you had 95%, right?
Yeah.
So it's really going to be hard. You're going to have thousands and thousands of cases to be able to show an effect of this drug.
Yeah.
Now, if you only give it, obviously, to people who are hospitalized with it, that would be smart. And then you could show how many of those had a decreased length of stay. That would be easier to show, or how few of them died compared to people who didn't take the drug. All right. At this time, when they wrote this, there have been 14 confirmed COVID-19 cases reported in the United States, additional 39 cases among persons repatriated to the United States. We're going to be talking about these numbers in just a minute. Remdesivir, which was developed by Gilead Sciences, is an investigational broad-spectrum antiviral treatment. I wonder how it works. It's previously tested in humans with Ebola virus disease, has shown promise in animal models for treating Middle East respiratory syndrome. So remember, MERS and SARS and this are all coronaviruses.
Okay.
So if it works, if it's broad spectrum, it works on one coronavirus, it may work on others, just like Tamiflu works on seems most of the strains of influenza.
Gotcha.
It's not a perfect drug by any means, but certainly helps.
Right.
Let me see. It says, although remdesivir has been administered to some patients with COVID-19, we do not have solid data to indicate it can improve clinical outcomes. So this is just going. Clinical trials of remdesivir are also ongoing in China, where they do have higher numbers. Now, just recently, the number of recovered cases is exceeding the number of new cases in China. So that's good. So maybe this thing is slowing down. We'll see. All right, so let's. So there's a lot of controversy, though.
Sure.
And I'm seeing it on Twitter and stuff, and what's real and what isn't. This is from The Atlantic by Alexis Madrigal. Well, that's an awesome name. The official coronavirus numbers are wrong, and everyone knows it. Well, I don't know it, so that's already wrong. Did you know it?
Well, that's what I was going to say. How do you? It's just a statement.
You're right.
How do we know?
Everybody knows
Yeah.
it. It's documented. Well, let's just see.
Okay.
It says, because the U.S. data on coronavirus infections are so deeply flawed, the quantification of the outbreak obscures more than it illuminates. Okay, let's see. Then she says, we know irrefutably one thing about coronavirus in the United States: the number of cases reported in every chart and table is far too low. So I want to know what the evidence is. I know there have been issues with the testing kit. So the WHO, well, I think that they talk about it to some degree in this article, so it'll either confirm or deny what I'm getting ready to say. But
Sure.
the WHO came out with a test by some German scientists, but the CDC said, oh no, we want to do our own test. And there is precedent for this. If someone is transferred to you and they say, well, and the doctor on the other side says, well, they had a mass on their brain, for example. You're not going to believe what they said unless you can see the CT scan that
Sure.
and if you can't get that, you have to repeat it.
Right.
So you don't trust what other people say, even if they're very trustworthy.
Right. Unless
Okay.
they have something to back it up.
Unless they have something to
Right.
back it up. And I think the CDC was like, yeah, your test may be good, but if we make our own, we know it'll be right.
Okay, gotcha.
And the first batch of them something was wrong with them. And it did delay us testing a bunch of people. Now, people say, well, up in Canada, we're testing, 5 times as many people as you all are. Well, how many have tested positive? Well, 20. So at that point, what they were doing is they were testing, thousands and thousands of people to pick up 20 cases. Now,
Right.
you want to pick up every case. That's called sensitivity. So you want to cast a wide net.
Sure.
I get that. But, most of the tests that they were doing were coming back negative, which meant that ultimately, in hindsight, those were unnecessary to do.
Right.
So how do you figure out who to test to make sure that you catch all the cases you want to without doing a bunch of unnecessary tests? And
right.
that's a difficult epidemiological question.
Yeah.
So, do we just test everybody in the United States? Well, that'd be insane. It's 350 million tests.
Right.
We don't have them. So do you just hit everybody with fever and an influenza-like illness? Sure, that's a good place to start. And how about testing people that have come into contact with someone that's had coronavirus?
Right.
And
Also, what if they're just testing, like in the Canadian research, what if they're just testing to the negative people just to say we have tested,
Right.
3 million people, but we had 20.
right.
So, so I understand.
I'm not so impressed that we're just testing more people.
Right.
Testing more people doesn't really help you if you're testing people who aren't at risk.
Yes.
We don't do treadmills on everyone.
Mm-hmm.
We do treadmills on people that have a reasonable chance of having a positive result.
Sure.
Now, we have to have a hair trigger with this because you don't want to miss any cases
Right.
if you can avoid it.
Yeah, for sure.
But we're going to.
Yeah.
She goes on to say the data are untrustworthy because the processes we used to get them were flawed. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's testing procedures missed the bulk of the cases. They focused exclusively on travelers rather than testing more broadly because that seemed like the best way to catch cases entering the country. Well, sure. In the beginning, you're doing mitigation, so you want to it had to come here from somewhere else. So you're trying to catch those folks as they come in if you can. Mm-hmm. It says, just days ago, it was not clear that the virus had spread solely from domestic contact at all, but then cases began popping up with no known international connection. What public health experts call community spread had arrived in the United States. No one was surprised by this. The travel bans and all that stuff, all that did was buy us time.
Right.
It's coming here just like it is to Italy and other places where, it's like trying to, you spill mercury and trying to, bat it with your hands to contain it somehow.
Yeah.
It's really hard to do. So, but what they did was delay things. So we've got a little bit of extra time to maybe develop a treatment to get better statistics and to do better screening. So,
well, talking about mercury, it's in retrograde. That's why you can't control it.
That's why you can't control it. That's awful. All right.
Today's episode is brought to you by Angie. Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs and projects done well. Let me tell you, there's the version of it where you try to do something at home, and then there's a version of it where you have someone help you, you watch them do it the right way, and you go, thank God I didn't try to do that myself. I have fully done things around the home that I think look good, and then a bang in the night, and I wake up to a shelf collapsing, a painting falling off the wall. I've seen it all go south. I own a home, and I can tell you, I know how much work it can take. Whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality, it can be hard just to know where to start. But now all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Whatever your home project, big or small, indoor or outdoor, you can Angie that and connect with skilled professionals to get the project done well. Right now, one of my wish lists is I want a bike for my condo in Milwaukee, and I would love to rig it up on a pulley in the ceiling because I have one of those lofted ceilings, but I'm so scared to try that on my own. Angie has 20 years of home experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app. Answer a few questions and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish, or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
Said there's firm evidence that in Washington state, the coronavirus had been spreading undetected for weeks. Now different projections estimate that 20 to 1,500 people have already been infected in the greater Seattle area. In California, too. The disease appeared to be spreading, although limited testing means no one is quite sure how far. Yeah, so, I mean, we need to probably ramp up testing, no question about that.
Yeah.
And it says, while Chinese officials were enacting worldwide historic containment effort, putting more than 700 million people under some sort of movement restriction, quarantining tens of millions of people and placing others under new kinds of surveillance. Well, that's great. The American public health officials were staring at the writing on the wall, and the disease was extremely likely to spread in the U.S. We always knew that. It's not like there was anything we were going to do to keep it from spreading here.
Right.
They were just trying to delay it so we had more time to be ready for it. So it says, meanwhile, South Korean officials have been testing 10,000 people a day, driving up the country's reported case count. Same goes for Italy. Well, they've got tons of cases there.
Sure.
China, the officials say the country has more than 80,000 cases, but the real number might be higher because all the people who had milder cases were turned away from medical care and never sought it in the first place. Oh. That's right. And that's actually a good thing because that drives the mortality data down. If more people had it and just recovered from it, but we know how many died from it,
right?
If you pile on numbers to the numerator, to the denominator, then the percentage of people who are dying are actually much lower than we think. So, all right. Anyway, all right. What have you got?
Dang. Well, just on top of that, I found an article from Representative Mark Pocan. He's a Democrat out of Wisconsin.
Okay.
He's demanding information from the CDC about decision to stop sharing the data about the number of people tested, like kind of like you were just talking about. So what they're saying is they stopped disseminating figures on the number of people tested and the death toll. But I mean,
I'm not seeing that. I'm looking at the CDC site right now.
Yeah.
And it seems to have all that stuff on there. CDC, corona, virus, numbers. Let's look at that and see what we come up with. Yeah, I mean, there's numbers all over the place on this. What the hell is he talking about?
Yeah. So he's saying we're no longer this is Nancy Messonnier, right?
What?
Messonnier. That's my Michigan accent coming
So
out
how do
there.
you spell it?
Messonnier.
Messonnier. Yeah.
Oh.
Messonnier.
Messonnier.
It's probably Messonnier.
So she's the
Messonnier.
CDC's.
Yeah.
Hot Messonnier. She's the CDC's director for National Center for Immunization and Respiratory Diseases.
Okay.
She told reporters that the agency stopped sharing data on the number of people tested because of more testing happening at the state level.
Okay.
So she said, we're no longer reporting the number of persons under investigation or those who tested negative.
Right. The states will have to do that now because,
Right.
we're different than a lot of other places. We have state-run, infectious disease
Testing.
teams and stuff.
Yeah.
So, influenza is reported by state as
Right.
well. So here we go. This is updated Mondays through Fridays, and it is just coronavirus disease CDC. Just Google that. It says updated March 3rd, 2020. So that would have been yesterday for us. It says the CDC is responding to an outbreak of respiratory illness caused by a novel coronavirus. The outbreak we know that. Okay, COVID-19, U.S. at a glance. Data include both confirmed and presumptive cases of COVID-19 reported to the CDC. So they're being reported to the CDC from other places or tested at CDC since January 21, 2020. Does not include information on testing results of persons repatriated to the United States from Wuhan, China, and Japan. States are now testing and publicly reporting their cases.
Okay.
So the CDC will collate all of that stuff. But this isn't their job at this point to report how many people are being tested in, say, Tennessee.
Right.
They can report it after Tennessee reports to them.
Gotcha.
But if you want to know, the states will do that.
Right.
It says in the event of a discrepancy, state case counts are the most up to date. So we have a very robust healthcare system in this country that, public health system that does this stuff. So total U.S. cases are 60, total deaths 6. So with that small, I don't have to ask Echo, that's 10%.
Yeah.
States reporting.
I don't know that one.
Oh, I'm sorry. States reporting cases are 12, so it's in 12 cases. There have been 22 cases are travel-related, 11 person-to-person spread, and 27 are under investigation. Okay? Now it says here, the CDC is no longer reporting the number of persons under investigation that have been tested as well as PUIs, that's persons under investigation that have tested negative. Now that states are testing and reporting their own results, CDC's numbers are not representative of all testing being done nationwide. So they just don't want to confuse people.
Right.
And this is actually a response to this whole thing. Well, they're reporting their numbers are too low, So,
Right.
All right.
But they can only report what they have.
Right.
What information they're getting from the state.
That's right.
Yeah.
But, so the CDC isn't doing all the testing themselves anymore.
Sure.
And so far, there have been, in Washington, it just says yes. So it's the West Coast, which makes sense, closest to Asia where this thing came from, and then it'll spread. And then you've got Georgia and Florida, and then New York, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts, but not Vermont yet. And then Wisconsin and Illinois. So, all right, very good. You got anything else?
No, that was it on that.
Okay. Oh, yeah. COVID-19 cases among persons repatriated to the United States, 3 from Wuhan, China, and 45 from the Diamond Princess cruise ship.
Whoa.
Dang.
Well, so
that was just a cruise ship from hell.
Oh yeah, that's terrible. But okay, say for the family that came back here.
Yes.
After they were quarantined, how would their number be reported? Would they be reported
As recovered.
Oh, okay. So, but if they're tested and she tested positive,
Yeah.
would
They'd
her
be-
number be?
They'd test as a positive case, and then now they would be reported out as recovered.
So would her first number of positive go? Where would they report that? Like, not on a state level because she's on a cruise ship, right?
Oh, right. They were one of the first coming through, so they were. I'm pretty sure they were tested by the CDC.
Okay.
I'm talking out of my ass at this point, but yeah.
Oh no, that's okay.
Yeah,
I just really wouldn't know if
that wouldn't be considered a Tennessee case because they were saying they were excluding people who were repatriated.
Yeah. So I didn't know where her number
Yeah.
would go. If
Right.
they would say she was positive, but she
would go
Tennessee.
United States,
Okay.
but not Tennessee.
Gotcha.
She would go on the repatriated list.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, shit. That's. I don't have a whole lot else on this. Oh well. We could look at influenza numbers. Influenza illnesses, overall cumulative hospitalization rate for this season increased to 52 per 100,000. So that's pretty damn low. The percentage of deaths attributed to pneumonia and influenza is 6.9%, below the epidemic threshold of 7.3%. So.
It's crazy that still takes people's lives.
Yep. We've got to have a universal influenza vaccine.
Yeah.
Because we're worried about this and people are freaking out. But, 30 million cases of influenza in the United States and 30,000 people who have expired from it in the United States this year alone.
Yeah.
And we just kind of take that in stride.
Yeah. Man.
And we're terrified of the thing that we don't know.
Right.
So flu's sort of the devil we know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like your shitty cousin.
Yeah. That always shows up and
ruins Christmas every year. But he's family.
Right. And
know?
They're like, well, we have to love him because he's blood. No.
I know. It's weird.
That's stupid.
It is stupid. But it is weird.
And
that
nobody even invited him. That's the thing.
Yeah.
He just shows up and ruins everything.
Yeah, the response to this is, I know what people are responding to is that this is the big fear that one of these days, one of these like avian flus is just going to sweep through and just take us out.
Yeah.
And I get that.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen it yet, and this one certainly does not look like it. A lot of us are going to get it.
Yeah.
And those that don't survive it, it's tragic. No question about that.
Dang.
But if I maintain my original stance that, like influenza, the majority of people won't get it because there's 300 million people in this country. We had 30 million cases. So again, about 10% of people have actually gotten it. It means 90% of people are just like, well, I ain't getting no flu shot.
Yeah.
I don't never get the flu. If you have a 90% chance of not getting something year after year after year, there are going to be some people that just never get it.
Right.
And they're going to think they're immune or something.
Yeah.
And when they finally do get it, they're going to be,
Right. How do you feel about the flu shot itself? Do you recommend that?
Yes.
Yeah?
It's imperfect. Some years it's only 6% effective in preventing influenza. Other years it's more like 40 to 50%. There can be complications.
Sure.
Back in the swine flu era, there were, people get Guillain-Barré. Have you heard of Guillain-Barré? Okay, so you get the flu shot.
I've worn one.
And then, I forgot.
Oh, I thought you were saying green beret, but sassy. Like.
Boy. So you get the flu shot, and then, and I don't know what the incidence is, but it's really, really low. Maybe like 1 in a million, something like that. And then you get this thing called ascending neuritis, where the nerves starting in your feet get weak, and then, stop sending impulses to the muscles, and so the limb gets weak. And then it starts to ascend, get up to the knee, and then up to the thigh, and then up to the waist. And if it gets up to the neck, of course, the respiratory muscles get affected, and you end up on the ventilator.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
Then, after it's kind of done doing its thing, it descends back down to the feet again and then sort of leaves your body. And it may leave behind some residual weakness. Now,
Is it like paralyzing, though?
yes.
Oh,
yes.
God. So you're like slowly being paralyzed.
Right. From the feet up. And that's why they call it ascending neuritis, because it ascends.
That is terrible.
It is terrible. You know what else causes ascending neuritis? Influenza. So back during the swine flu epidemic in the 70s, a lot of people got Guillain-Barré from the influenza itself. So it's not the vaccine necessarily. It's the immune system's reaction to the viral protein that causes it. So whether you get it from the influenza or you get it from the vaccine.
That sounds horrifying.
It is. It's horrifying when it happens.
No, when it starts going back down, though, do you get feeling back?
Yeah.
Or you, So
or you get function back. But like I said, there can be some residual weakness left over. Yeah, so it's rough. And if that happens to you, it totally sucks, and I get it. And it's like, well, shit, if I hadn't gotten the vaccine, well, maybe. But if you'd gotten influenza that year with that protein in it, you may have gotten the Guillain-Barré anyway. So the the risk is far outweighed by the benefit.
Yeah.
And so I'm a fan. But the universal vaccine is what we got to have.
Right.
We need one vaccine for all influenza. If we do that, we might be able to eradicate this stupid virus before something bad happens. Like, an avian flu or another epidemic like the 1918 influenza epidemic.
Dang.
But still just boggles my mind that, it's just influenza.
Yeah.
But then this coronavirus so far is, doesn't seem to be as virulent as the influenza, but we're freaking out about it. But it's, again, because it's the unknown. All right, and we'll be back right after these words from our sponsors.
And though you will try to always get it right, the beauty of life lives inside of you. And I hope someday you find it too.
So, Jenny, do you experience stress or have anxiety?
Yeah.
Chronic pain or have trouble sleeping at least once a week? You're not alone. Many of us do. Personally, I have chronic pain from this polymyalgia rheumatica. I've had trouble sleeping due to stress in my job. And I was searching for anything that would help, and then I discovered Feals, F-E-A-L-S. It's premium CBD delivered directly to your doorstep. And Feals naturally helps reduce stress, anxiety, pain, and sleeplessness. And I find a huge difference in the nights when I use a little tincture of CBD. They have it in liquid form. It comes in a really cool little packaging.
Yeah.
And I take a half of a dropper before I go to bed. And I've really noticed a huge difference. And the thing is that I have confidence that what Feals is selling through Feals.com, Feals.com, is the right stuff. So CBD is legal if it's derived from hemp. Mm-hmm. They give broad spectrum CBD oil, and I've seen the stats on their analysis.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing I worry about when you're going to buy it out in the, some vape shop or something. It's not that they're unethical. It's who's selling to them might be, and you just don't know.
Yeah.
So I like buying from somebody that really can prove what they're selling.
Yeah.
It's easy to take. You place a few drops of Feals under your tongue and feel the difference within minutes. The thing to remember about CBD is finding your right dose is important, and everyone's dose is different. So leaving room to experiment over the course of a week or so, you may need to take more or less to get the effects you're after. Are you new to CBD? Feals offers free CBD hotline to help you guide your personal experience. Who's doing that? And works naturally to help you feel better. There's no high, there's no hangover, and no addiction. Join the Feals community to get Feals delivered to your door every month. You save money on every order, and you can pause or cancel at any time. Feals has me feeling my best every day, and it can help you too. Become a member today by going to feals.com/fluid. you get 50% off your first order with free shipping. That's feels.com/fluid to become a member and get 50% automatically taken off your first order with free shipping. That's feels.com/fluid. Okay, very good. Well, you want to take some phone calls?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. let's
Hello?
Number one thing, don't take advice from some asshole on the radio.
All right, very good. One thing that people don't know is that is the voice of the great Ron Bennington, who I'm going to go see in April 10th in Atlanta at the Creeps with Kids concert. You need to go to that. It's Ron Bennington, Jim Florentine, Robert Kelly, and oh God, I'm missing somebody.
Did you say Asheville?
No, in Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta. Okay.
Who am I missing? I'm being an asshole. I'm missing somebody important. Bob Kelly. Oh, Voss. Oh, Jesus.
Oh.
Sorry, Rich. Yeah, and Rich Voss.
I'm gonna punch
So
you
it's
right
all
in the
Creeps
mouth.
with Kids. You
Yeah.
know, and I think that people go to this going, oh, this will be a fun, sort of Lifetime sort of comedy show. And it's completely vile.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Don't go there on a first date if you're trying to like it.
Right. Unless you just want to gauge how cool they are.
Right.
I had a girlfriend once, and our first date was I took her to see Full Metal Jacket. That was our first date. And she hung in there.
Yeah.
So, I was a film major, and it was Kubrick, and it was like, hell,
Right. Well,
you want to go see a movie? Jeez. All right. So this drop.
Number one thing, don't take advice from some asshole on the radio.
If you listen closely, there's an edit in there. And what he said originally was, don't take sex advice from some asshole on the radio. And I don't even remember where that drop came from, but I took out the word sex to make it apply, more broadly to people like me.
Number
Yeah.
one thing, don't take advice from some asshole on the radio.
oh yeah.
you can
I
sort
only
of
heard
hear
it because you
Yeah.
said something.
Right. Yeah, it's a pretty ham-handed edit that I did, but I did it in Audacity in like 2006 or something. So I didn't know what the hell I was doing back then.
Sound pretty good for not knowing.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, I had a question with this here coronavirus going around.
Anyway, we're just okay. It's like enough coronavirus. Let's take some phone calls. Here we go. But that's the way it's going to be for me.
What is your opinion, professionally, Bear, on everybody uses vinegar to clean with, and people that are really big supporters of it say it kills germs and all that fun stuff.
Sure.
Would something like that be effective in killing the coronavirus or any other virus, or do you know? Anyway.
That's a good question.
No, it's a great question.
Yeah.
Bye.
And he's like, do you know, does anyone know anything?
Right.
And so coronavirus can certainly survive on surfaces where we know that. And people still aren't 100% sure how long. They're estimating about the maximum under perfect conditions would be 3 days. But so that's why you don't want to touch your, so someone coughs in their hand, they get billions of coronavirus particles on their hand and the mucus. They touch a doorknob, and then the stuff sits there in the mucus. And those viruses, remember, are not alive. They just have to remain intact.
Oh.
And if you put them, then you grab that door and stick your hand in your face afterward, then you can transmit that virus to yourself. And everyone who's listened to this show over the last several weeks and decades even, we've talked about this mode of transmission. It's called fomite transmission. And, it is there's a real risk for that.
And how long is it on the door handle?
Well, that's what they don't know.
Oh,
so there's
okay.
new. This is from the Mercury News. The new coronavirus spreads quickly. Health officials are aggressively assessing how long it can survive on surfaces.
Oh, gotcha.
To better understand the risk of transmission. Based on what is known about similar coronaviruses, disease experts say the new outbreak of the virus. And see, they got this wrong, named COVID-19. Now, it's the outbreak, the disease is COVID-19, but the virus is called, SARS-CoV-2.
Okay.
Is mainly spread from person to person through coughing or sneezing. Contact with fecal matter from an infected person may also transmit the virus. But the CDC says it may be possible for a person to become infected by touching a surface object that has the virus on it and then touching their own mouth, nose, or eyes. So one thing to take home from this is if you don't have the disease, the only reason to wear a mask is to keep your stupid hands out of your nose and your mouth.
Oh.
That's the only reason to wear it. It won't do you any good otherwise. Now, if you have it and you cough into that, it's less likely you're spraying droplets around.
Right.
I mean, you may still spray some, but it'll be orders of magnitude less than if you're just onto surfaces and stuff.
Hey, question about that.
Yeah.
So, did you grow up here? No, you're not.
I'm from south of here.
Okay, so this is a crazy question, but do they teach people here in the South to just open sneeze? I mean, I'm being serious. Like, so my dad grew up here, and he just open sneezes, like just right out in the open and just right at the ground.
People will cough into their elbow and stuff, but if they sneeze, it's like
it's a free for all at 250 miles an hour. But like, I don't understand it. Like up north, we're taught like do everything in your elbow. Yeah. Cough, sneeze, like keep it here.
Well, people used to carry handkerchiefs, which is gross because people blow it in their nose and then put it in their pocket.
Does that.
But it's probably, if you're going to sneeze and you sneeze into a handkerchief, that actually is a pretty effective technique to decelerate those particles down to zero pretty quickly. Well, so in that regard, it's pretty cool. But then put it back in your pocket is disgusting.
Disgusting. No, I saw a guy literally roll his window down and sneeze out the window in a truck. I mean, I
puked out the window like that once. Just open the window and just I'm sure people just try.
No, but I just didn't know if that was like taught here. Or...
Why is it always funny to see somebody puking? I don't know why that's funny. But to drive by and see someone stick their head out the window and just start puking would be hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's funny.
Tripping is funny to me.
I know.
Falling down, whiskey
I guess we
throttles.
just like other people's misery.
Yeah, I know.
But if you saw somebody, I guess, something life-threatening, you wouldn't find that funny.
No, that is not funny.
But puking, because we've all puked and it's awful, but it's not the end of the world. Knock on wood.
No, I do not do good in emergency situations.
Yeah. Mucus is the thing I don't like. Although, I can sit and eat and talk about shit mixed with mucus, mixed with pus, and it's no problem, Yeah. And people in the medical profession because we have to catch up on cases during lunch and stuff, and you're grabbing food and you're talking about all this stuff. And then you take it to the dinner table and there's two medical people talking about, I've...
Oh, yeah, not everyone shares in your
giant cyst and the stuff, came spewing out and smelled like rotten cottage cheese. And everyone's throwing their forks down and you're like, what? What's wrong?
Like, what?
So it says here, an analysis of 22 earlier studies of similar coronaviruses, including SARS and Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, published online this month, concluded that human coronaviruses can remain infectious on inanimate objects for up to 9 days at room temperature. Damn!
No!
Now, here's the thing. They are really fragile. That's under perfect conditions. It says they can quickly be rendered inactive using common disinfectants and may also dissipate at higher temperatures. It's not yet clear, however, whether the new coronavirus behaves in a similar way. But these things are, they have a membrane that they create inside your cell, and it's very fragile. So, yes, acetic acid, which is vinegar, should kill it. Soap and water kills it. If soap and water will get, kill it, as you know, acetic acid will. Yeah. Just don't mix vinegar and bleach, please. That's, you make
get it together.
Chlorine gas. It says on copper and steel, it's pretty typical. It's pretty much about 2 hours. So that would be like a doorknob.
Oh, okay.
And for how long the new coronavirus may be active on those types of metals. But I will say on other surfaces, cardboard or plastic, it's longer, which makes sense. Cardboard and plastic are more porous. They've got big, places where you could just get a microscopic glob of mucus that could have 1 billion viral particles in it.
I'm not a germaphobe, but there's only one door handle I don't touch, and that's at the doctor's office. I just don't do that.
Yeah.
It's gross.
Well, I had a professor, and we all thought he was a goof, and this was in the 80s, where he would wear these really baggy pants, and he would put his hand in his pocket and then reach up to open up a doorknob.
Oh.
Through the fabric of his pants.
Yeah.
And we would just laugh and laugh, but now, he's looking pretty smart.
Right. He's probably lived till he's like 150.
Yeah. It says the Food and Drug Administration this week said it has no evidence that COVID-19 has been transmitted from imported goods. So that I've had people ask me, if I order something from China, how much risk do I have?
Right.
And now they're not letting people work that have fevers and stuff. So the likelihood that you're going to be exposed is pretty low.
Yeah.
But still, it's a question. They have no evidence that that's ever happened.
Right.
So.
Well, we talked before that if the resistors quit coming in, how that would shut everything down.
Yeah.
I think the news just reported this week that manufacturing's slowing down because of imports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there's no resistors made in the United States anymore.
Yeah.
We could gear up pretty quickly if we had to, but there would be a lag.
Dang.
But anyway.
Yeah, crazy.
All right.
Well, on to happier things.
Yes.
Unless we're doing a call about coronavirus.
Hey, got a quick question for you. Looking for a little definition of something.
By the way, this is Stacy DeLoach, everyone.
Oh, DeLoach! We know.
Here. Lest I not acknowledge that I know him. Right.
What is the difference between a sudden cardiac arrest and a heart attack?
Oh, that's an
I've always
excellent
thought that they were the same thing, and now I'm renewing some stuff, and that came up as that there's a difference between sudden cardiac arrest and heart attack.
Yeah, absolutely. So a sudden cardiac arrest so a cardiac arrest is almost always sudden. Doesn't have to be, but let's just take out that first word and just talk about a cardiac arrest. An arrest is when the heart stops. So if you have respiratory arrest, you stop breathing. If you have cardiac arrest, your heart stops beating. Oh. That's what they're trying to prevent when you have a heart attack. So a heart attack is any injury to the heart caused by decreased blood flow to the heart. So the heart has its own blood supply. So when it pumps, one of the first places that blood goes to is back to the heart. You'd think it's full of blood. What's the problem? Well, it doesn't really work that way.
Right.
It still needs blood vessels because those muscles can't just get oxygen from diffusion. It needs blood vessels. So when you pump out of the left ventricle to the rest of the body, there are two little holes in your aorta that lead to three coronary arteries. Okay, so you have the left main, you have the circumflex, and the right coronary artery, and those then dive back into the heart and feed it oxygen and nutrients and stuff.
Right.
Which is pretty cool because it's like, look, I'm pretty important here. I'm feeding myself first.
Yeah.
It's just like when you get paid and you pay yourself first by putting something in your retirement account, It's not just like that. It's not a great analogy, but it's sort of like that.
We'll take it.
It's taking its nutrients first and then pumps the rest to the rest of the body.
Gotcha.
And it is just a very small amount, but it's enough. So when one of those coronary arteries gets clogged, or you get a thrombosis where maybe you have a plaque and it ruptures and now it forms a clot and then the clot goes and then gets stuck because arteries get smaller and smaller as they dive into the tissues, right? Yeah. And then it clogs up the tissue. No blood flow to that tissue anymore, and now the tissue starts to get damaged and may die.
Okay.
And you can detect that in the blood through blood tests that look for enzymes that are only produced in the heart. And when that tissue is damaged, those enzymes are released into the bloodstream, and you can detect them with a blood test. So we look for peaks of things like troponin or creatine phosphate kinase, which is CPK.
Okay.
And when you see that, then you can diagnose. And then there are other things. You have the symptoms of a heart attack.
Sure.
Or not everybody shows up classic. But the classic symptoms are I've got a weight on my chest, feels like an elephant standing on my chest. I have shortness of breath, nausea, and diaphoresis, which just means profuse sweating.
Oh.
And palpitations, where you feel your heart, beating out of your chest. Those kinds of things. And left-sided, maybe arm pain or left-sided chest pain. But people can present in an atypical fashion as well.
Sure.
That's the problem with this. That's why people die of heart attacks without going to the emergency room, because they think that they're having indigestion.
Oh, I was going to say, is that like equivalent to heartburn or?
Well, that's what some people will have this and think this is what heartburn is.
Okay.
But no, that's different. Heartburn is actually, we call it pyrosis, is a burning sensation right in the upper abdomen, lower chest.
Okay.
And that's caused from acid damaging the mucous membrane, either of the stomach or of the esophagus.
Gotcha. That sounds terrible.
And, those tissues are all kind of mushed together, and they were together when you were an embryo. And so that's why, when you have pain to your heart, sometimes it'll radiate to the left arm or the left neck. But I've told this story before. When I was in medical school, this person died in the waiting room because they were misidentified. They came in and said they had a sore throat.
Oh.
And so they triaged them to the ambulatory side where they see people with sore throats.
Sure.
But what he was really saying was, I'm having angina and it's radiating to my neck. But when he came in, he just said, look, I've got a really bad sore throat.
Oh, shoot.
And so, it's like, well, sore throats, go over there.
Sure.
And by the time they came to get him, he'd already had a cardiac arrest.
Jeez.
So, a heart attack can result in a cardiac arrest. And the cardiac arrest, a lot of times, your heart doesn't just stop. It'll go into a pulseless arrhythmia, meaning like ventricular tachycardia, where the heart is beating in such a chaotic and fast way that you no longer have a pulse. And if you don't have a pulse, then that's when naughty things happen.
Right. Dang.
And that can lead to a cardiac arrest.
Shoot.
All right? Mm-hmm. So there you go. So one of the things I thought we would do is we had the Feels ad during the show. I would like to play the song that was derived from.
Sure.
Dave Cecil was here one day when we were talking to Gunnar Esiason about advances in cystic fibrosis, because Dave's daughter has cystic fibrosis and Gunnar is an advocate for CF. Yeah. And they're coming out with some new crap right now that's pretty outstanding for cystic fibrosis.
Awesome.
And so when he was here, we did the podcast. He was just sort of noodling around on his guitar. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that song is awesome. He's like, really? I don't hear it. And I'm like, no, dude, that's one of the best songs I've ever heard. I just heard a snippet of it. But I said, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
We need to record that. And so he came up, and I'm going to use it for our Feels campaign for the next year.
Awesome.
And then we recorded the full song. Now, this version of it has some issues, no question about it. But I want people to hear it because I'm excited for people to actually hear this song.
Yeah, they should.
So that's how we're going to end this episode, and with the Dave Cecil's new song, Someday. Oh, and let me tell you what the issues are. First off, he has such a perfect voice that this microphone that I used is so sensitive that I should have put a pad on it, like a 10 dB pad, so that I could get all the dynamics. And that was, I'm an audio engineer, but I was just so excited to have him up here that I just kind of fucked up. So his voice it's awesome, but it could be better. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is I have an app, or it's not an app, it's a plug-in for my Logic Pro 10 that I record in the music studio. Mm-hmm. And it's called East West Symphony Gold or something like that, or Hollywood Symphonies. And it's sampled symphonic instruments. Like you can get string bass, cellos, violins. You can get the full orchestra. You can get voices, all kinds. I have symphonic choirs too.
Okay.
And I added some at the end to just sort of make a dramatic effect. And it doesn't quite have the dramatic crescendo that I wanted.
Sure.
Plus, those things sound muddy because I used too much reverb. So I'm going to clean it up. And when we finally
Cool.
Release this. Mm-hmm. And so I'll have to talk in the middle during the drum or the guitar interview just so people don't take that snippet and, I have to ruin it a little bit. But other than that, it's a pretty perfect song. And so this is Dave Cecil's Someday. And we'll see you next week. Check your stupid nuts for lumps.
Rolling wheels take you home. It feels like years have come and gone since then. Come and gone, but I remember everything like it was yesterday. There's nothing more I can say I've learned. I know I'm still a kid as far as life's concerned, but as days go by, you may realize somehow there's an untouched part of you. And though you will try to always get it right, the beauty of life lives inside of you. And I hope someday you find it too.
You're listening to Dave Cecil on Weird Medicine at drsteve.com. Check him out at daveraycecil.com or on youtube.com/lobsterjohnson.
Looking out my front window, I watch the people as they come and go. Why can't I be just like them and sell my soul? Trade it all for some idea. Believe that money somehow can buy dreams. Then I could live the good life looking at my things. But as days go by, you may realize somehow there's an unchanged part of you. And though you will try to always get it right, the beauty of life lives inside of you. And I hope someday you find it too. I hope someday, I hope someday, I hope someday you find it too. You will find it too. You will find it too. So stop believing you're alone, and no one knows that lonely in your bones. Everybody is the same. Everyone is looking for their home, for their home. So watch the years roll away, replaced by every single other day. Watch them as they fall and chase us all. But as days go by, you may realize somehow there's an unmoved part in you. And though you will try to always get it right, the beauty of life lives inside of you. And I hope someday you find it too. I hope someday, I hope someday, I hope someday you find it too. You will find it too. You will find it too. Someday you'll find, someday you'll find, someday, 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 someday.